This episode of RP MMO Radio is brought to you by all our amazing and generous Patreon donors. Visit us at patreon.com/RPMMO Radio to help support the show. It is also brought to you by...
Greetings! Dr. Bognar and the Crusher here. Are you having problems in your social and married life? Does it seem like the world is against you? Do your kids act as if you're not their father just because they look like the local blacksmith? Is your husband telling you how great you looked every day 10 years ago? Aye, life is hard, but that's why I'm here with my fancy degree and sage advice. Get Over It is a new program in fixing all the issues you milk-drinking sops got. Being married is hard. Get over it. The world is actually against you. Get over it. Yes, your kids aren't yours because you were working too long and emotionally distant and she had needs. Needs, I say. Get over it. Of course, you looked better 10 years ago. It's called a salad, you fatty. Eat one and get over it. There's no problem I can't cure within 10 minutes. You tell me your problem, I'll tell you to get over it. If that don't work, we'll move on to step 2. Drink on it. There's no problem what can't be burned away with a good pint or 10 of good brew. Take as prescribed daily and you'll... Yeah, you're figuring it out now, aren't you? Get over it. So call me now and make an appointment. Or I'll be forced to going back and banging it out as a blacksmith again. Hey.
You're listening to RPMMO Radio.
Does internet porn know you're cheating on it?
Where entertainment and roleplay in MMORPGs have little hybrid mutant babies.
Make a note of this. This honor on you, this honor on your cow, this honor on your whole family.
And now, here's your hosts, Ashen Phoenix, Civ, Jazz, Strafe, and Yunfei.
Everybody off. We need to go on a quick adventure.
Hello, role players, and welcome to RPMMO Radio. This is our 76th episode. Fuckity fuck. Let's start off with just cussing everything.
That's a lot of fracks, bro.
Yeah, you know what? Frack you too. 76th episode, no fallout here. So, welcome everybody. It's good to be back. I appreciate everybody tuning in, downloading the podcast, hopefully wearing pants. I know I'm not, but I hope the rest of you are. Of course, I'm one of your hosts, Ashen Phoenix, and with me is Jazz, Sib, and Strafe. Unfortunately, Yunfei and Rahana are not here because they are right now, at this very moment, missing. And presumed kidnapped.
Oh boy.
Really?
Yeah, it was awful. Apparently something real wobbly in like a giant trench coat knocked on their door, then split into two and hustled them off in a unmarked windowless van.
That sounds dubious indeed, sir.
Doesn't it? Yeah. I'm thinking it was the Little Rascals.
Mm-hmm.
Could be.
Yeah, you know why? Because kids are the worst, and those kids are got to be like 80 years old by now. I think most of them are dead.
So they rolled up in wheelchairs to kidnap them with canes and...
Yeah. Rub Ben Gay all over them. Throw Metamucil in their eyes. You know how
a little bit of lidocaine cream.
See? Big Hassenpfeffer in the chat. He gets it. It was, in fact, the Halflings.
It always is the Halflings, man.
So, oh yeah, you know it. You knew it was coming there. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. Of course, we do this almost every Saturday, 7 Central Time, over at twitch.tv/RPMMO Radio. If you watch it live, we do appreciate it. go ahead and follow us, just as a slew of people did. Durkudi, Lemby Wowner, Ninthpawn, and I think we said it last time, but I'm going to say it again just in case. Melkpilto35. Melkpilto35. Bingo. Anybody? Anybody bingo? Melkpilto35.
You were guaranteed to have your name butchered.
Oh, man, yeah.
It is a courtesy and a service.
Yeah, it's not my fault. It's not like in-game names. When you pick a Twitch name, apparently the thing is to make it as unpronounceable out loud as physically possible. So screw you all for making me have to figure that out. But thank you all for following. But no, we really appreciate everybody following us. We're well into the over 100 now. I think it's 107 or something like that, which is awesome. You know, I'm happy. I found out a fun stat. So it doesn't put us in the top 1%. We are still the 99%, but I did see a stat that someone was saying if you have over 25 viewers on average on your Twitch stream, you're in like the top 1% of successful streams on Twitch. Which, if you've ever clicked on a game and you see the top like 5 or 6, you know, yeah, it's doing really good. And then you see the other 400 channels below that with either 1, 2, or 0 people watching. And I'm pretty sure the ones are probably themselves watching each other on themselves as they're streaming. Because that's just how that goes. So, hey, I like to think we're in the top 75 percentile. At, the 6 to 10 to 14 we have. It varies.
Woo! Woo! I'm cheering for us.
But that, I don't know. I thought that was I love stats. Statistics are a fascinating thing to me. 87% of which are actually, according to what I heard, made up on the spot. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, they can certainly be shifted to fit just about any goal.
That's true. Yeah, I know.
Depending on how you mix it up. So
yeah, we had an election recently last year about some sort of a presidential thing in an MMO multiverse. I'm pretty sure that the polls were rigged and that none of the statistics mattered whatsoever.
That's fake news. I got it on good authority. That's fake news.
I have it on good authority. In fact, this just in. We have breaking news that the president himself may or may not have voted for himself multiple times. Yeah.
So, Maxon,
Mm-hmm.
Let's impeach.
Let's wait for all the facts to come out, shall we, before we jump to judgment.
I got my impeachment cobbler made. I'm ready for this.
Woo!
It's a stupid word. Anything with peach in it does not sound threatening. I'm sorry. I'm going to impeach you. Ooh, that sounds delicious.
All it does is make me think of Princess Peach.
Yeah.
Makes me think of Peach Nuka, bro, and boy, I want one.
That's because you got Fallout on the brain and you're just sad.
I know, it is.
If I had a nickel for every time you made googly eyes at the butt and chest of that Nuka-Cola girl, I would be like Elon Musk.
Don't judge my love, bro. Don't judge our love.
Don't judge my poster love.
Exactly.
All right. Well, appreciate everybody tuning in. Like I said, we are a podcast, believe it or not, that people do actually listen to. Also, believe it or not, you can find us at Apple Podcast, whatever podcast apps over on Android, Spotify, Podbean. We're pretty much on all of them. Wherever you can listen to a podcast, we will be there. We're like the Three Amigos. Wherever there is injustice, we'll be there. Wherever there's pizza, I'll be there. So everyone have a good 2 weeks. Hey, get anything done? Anything? Stay warm. not freeze your tits off. Anybody?
We were at 50 degrees below zero. There for a couple days, and Iowa was very cold. I missed a week of work, none of which I got paid for. Let's see.
It was a balmy 27 down here, and I got paid.
Yeah, well, the post office here canceled everything for 3 days. So that ought to give you an idea.
And don't worry, they're paying for it now because they're only getting paid the one day that they come back to work those 3 days.
Oh man.
We don't get overtime. They're doing that for free. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, I did too. I ended up 20 hours short, 3 hours short. So.
You've got so many kids, and there's 2 kidneys in each one of them. I mean, are you really hurting that badly? I mean, if you need it bad enough.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
I mean, that little one, he looks pretty healthy.
He does.
Well,
Yeah.
the
mouthy one, you could take his voice box and give it to someone worthy.
That's true.
You're like, well, wait a minute, hold on.
Now that has merit. He's loud. Yeah, so I didn't get much chance to roleplay actually, even though I was here for 2 reasons. One, Fallout. Playing Fallout with my friends, you guys.
You don't say.
Bit a lot of my time. But also because I spent half the week in visiting the hospital and with my brother who's very sick. So it was nice timing. I had to drive in 20 degrees below zero wind chill to go see him at the hospital and check in with the rest of my family. So
Which was always a joyous experience.
Oh, yeah.
Even in the worst of times.
I do love my family. It's very hard because they don't take care of themselves.
How far away do they live from you?
Well, Newton is about 35 minutes away.
That seems like minimum safe distance, yeah.
Yeah, it's long enough that I have to plan to go see them. I miss my nieces. I really enjoy hanging out with my
little
nieces,
ones, they don't
but
count. They're always fun.
I don't get to do it very much, and they're all very religious, and it's just hard.
Right, you're a dirty heathen. Right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a dirty heathen. So
understandable.
Me and my rainbow coat went to the emergency room, and not emergency room, but ICU, and hung out with my family.
Well, that's good.
And
I mean, not good for why you were there, but at least...
No. But I got lots of looks because you look at my family and you look at me, and the only real similarity between us is in the face and the fact that we're all fat.
Well, you couldn't have been that cold then.
No, yeah,
Hey, that's a perfect opportunity to go get that book from Barkdog, man.
That's right. Get over it!
Yeah, exactly. So that was pretty much. I did get some role play on Thursday and Friday, guild role play, but nothing spectacular happened. It was mostly just general cavern role play. Nothing. Spectacular.
Yeah, and going along that, yes, we understand. For anybody in our Discord, you have seen a lot of us playing Fallout 76, and yes, it is a dumpster fire of glitches and broken code. But
it's so much fun.
But we're playing with friends, and it is fun, which is why, although I do have one story for Chattereel, an update on his untimely and unseemly death, most of our stuff actually is going to focus on Fallout 76, because we're going to try, I know we said it last episode, but it didn't happen because if we're going to try to pretend to roleplay in a game where we have to use our voice, it's best to make sure everyone knows at least what keys to hit, and since this is... which I'm proud of her for, outside of Jazz's comfort zone, because she's an MMO player. She's not a gamer. She just plays the MMOs.
I'm a gamer. I'm an MMO gamer.
Right. Well, no, I mean gamer in the sense that you play a wide spectrum of
No, I don't.
Were you playing Resident Evil 2 this week?
Yuck.
How about Smash Brothers?
No.
Okay. How about Red Dead Redemption 2?
I think you got your point across.
Right. Okay. See, because that's all the stuff I played this week too.
Okay. I played Fallout. I built a house. I'm at level 17, and I roleplayed in ESO, and that's it. That's all I had time for.
Yeah, but like I say, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for stepping out, because Fallout period is not a game that you have ever right.
And it's not really my thing, but I mostly, and this is the thing that a lot of people don't know about me. I think Anthony does. Our
Strafe,
sorry.
Antoni.
That's my dad's name.
Yeah, Strafe knows that I'm not uncomfortable around guns, and I'm actually very good with guns. But I don't like them because they bring out a side of me that I don't like very much. So the bloodthirsty side of me has been playing Fallout.
Yeah, she's been like, die. But yeah, so we've been doing that, and I think, I don't know, we're gonna have to find a day because we still have our regular role play stuff and that, but I think it'd be fun to try and act like you were actually in that world. And we've, unlike our children apparently, or at least Jazz's, we've never done voice acted role play, which is it's out of our comfort zone. But something.
Actually, did you see that link I put in our chat, our personal chat?
Probably not. I may have missed it.
There's a chat mod for Fallout.
I saw that.
Oh, no, I missed it. The other chuckleheads talk so much, I didn't see anything.
Yeah, no, there's a chat mod, and it's like local and global. Global allows you to talk to anyone in any server across the entire game, as long as they have the
Proper
chat mod.
version. Right.
The local is anybody in a certain area can hear what you're saying.
Yeah, and that comes with the game. That's just part of the game on that one. We just have it set to group chats. But anyway.
No, I mean typing. Like
I
chat.
see what you're saying. Oh, I did not.
It's
that's
a
cool.
chat mod that you can type your words, and
yeah, but
only
given
who
the
have the mod can actually see what you're typing.
well, that's
The
cool.
more she describes this, the more I see level 200s rolling in and flaming all of us for
Right.
typing in voice. I'm gonna talk in voice chat. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, and you
But
can
that
still
would mean they'd have to have the mod, and most of these guys are never going to bother with the mod like that. So I mean, we don't have to worry about that.
but
No. The whole standing still in one place.
Yeah, but then
And our houses.
there is the thing of doing it out in the world and fighting and shooting things, not really conductive to typing.
No. I would
So,
think that would not work. But like at our houses, it would work.
Yeah, we're just gonna stick with the voice thing because that's the whole point.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm glad you understand, boss.
So, all right, well, let's go ahead and see what we may have. I know Jazz said she didn't. According to this, not a damn thing. So we're still gonna go with Jazz first anyway,
Of
so
course
she
you
can
are.
read that.
I didn't do anything in roleplay really. Like I said, just guild tavern type roleplay. Stial got to make a showing and be a general nuisance briefly. But that was really it. That was all.
Sat
I
with
had.
your uncle and chided him on planning an adventure without proper guard.
Yes, that was part of the tavern RP.
I mean, that guy's boring. That she was role
He's
playing.
not boring. Kia got to catch him in the act of looking at a map, and she busted him. And
I'm glad you said map.
She didn't bust him. She's like, "What are you looking at? Oh, a map. Current or
yes,
old?"
and she said, "And I trust you're not going anywhere without guards." So
Yeah. So you did have roleplay.
yeah,
Just nothing worth mentioning.
To which he said, "Yes, Voley's going." She's like, she's as good as two guards.
So, all right. Well, so that's all you had
that's
there?
really about it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, how about you, Strafade? You got something you want to read? Ask knowingly.
Oh well, if are we gonna read? Because we had said we were gonna read our journals first for Fallout.
Yeah,
Is that what we were
that's
gonna-
what I was referring to.
Oh, I thought you meant.
First she steals my land, now she steals my spot. Go ahead, Jazz. Take
Next.
it away.
I
Next.
have something to read for the Fallout stuff, but not
Go
in
for
here.
it.
So it's not really role play. It's just
But it will be.
that's true.
There you go.
Okay.
All right.
So let me get it. Let me.
Oh, now you're pulling a Strafade.
There you go. Okay. Gotta get in the voice. I hate these things. I had to make reports on these, and I never liked it. I hate the sound of my own voice. Sorry, I'm crabby today, but since everyone is dead, maybe it's a good idea to leave something in case whatever the hell happens to them happens to me. My name is Miriam Stahl. I'm 28 years old. I've been out of the box for about 5 years now. I was one of the last to leave, as it was in the final security detail. Set up the bots and left. Parted ways at the base of the mountain with supplies and orders, not that it mattered. When I rendezvoused with my team, when I was supposed to rendezvous with my team, no one showed. I waited for 4 days, casually picking off Scorched and worse, until I faced the fact no one was coming. The shock of this new world is worn off, had by then, too. I was just, resolute. I hadn't spoken to anyone in weeks. The radio had been silent, save for crackles that helpfully warned me of nasty storms coming. After those long, bloody 4 days and nearly getting my arm chewed off by some huge mole, I left. I left behind some supplies and instructions. I went back now and then. It was still there, untouched. I realized they were not coming back. I left and headed back to the box. I was there a while, looking around. Nothing there but more blood to spill and things to kill. I picked a direction and headed out, looking for signs of life. I found Reynolds a few hours down the road. He didn't die well, poor bastard. I took his gear and ammunition, supplies, and gave him a decent burial. I returned to the starting point. I found Harson not an hour down the direction she went. Well, I found her tags in her skull. No gear, no clothes, no bones, just a skull. I assume it's her skull since it had that nasty calcium buildup she was born with, and her tags were 2 paces away in a pile of what was probably a scorched. I returned to the starting point. I did this for several weeks until I'd found all 6 members of our team other than myself, all dead, most without gear or supplies, and usually precious little by way of remains. I gave them all a nice burial. After that, I wandered pretty aimless anyway, for quite some time. I found this house with the former occupant upstairs, very dead. It looks like he died of some nasty wounds. I gave him a nice burial, which the nearby wild dogs probably dug up. They kindly brought me his skull a few days later. Really, I hate those things. They came for mine and died in the process. It's not a bad little place. Electrics work after I tinkered with the well-hidden and badly damaged power generator. We made the wires. I'm handy like that. The doors were locked and the turrets were long destroyed, but I picked my way into the house by the locks and replaced the turrets. Nothing gets in here now, and it's my home, for better or worse, at least for now. I made a few friends with some local survivors that pass by now and then, a priest, a former cop, and a sweet kid around my age that looks a bit shell-shocked a lot of the time, but under the wing of the former cop. I'm guessing really on former occupations. There's a few others, but I don't know their names really. We haven't gotten that close. Just nod when we see each other out there scavenging. We kill things, say little, the way I like it. And on cue, there's the turrets going off. Time to kill dogs. Later.
All
Very
right.
nice. Very nice.
So, Strafay?
All right, I'll read mine from Fallout. Which he's not a cop. He's a son of a cop, but you're about to find that out.
But she doesn't know that, so.
Of course, that's kind of the beauty of it. All right. Tony Anderson had only been a year-old baby when his mother had entered Vault 76 with him in her arms. He must have looked cute in a little Vault-Tec onesie, as he had no picture of it, only the stories his mother and Nella had constantly told him about. The Vault had been his whole world, and its inhabitants, his friends and family. He had no memory of his father, as he had given up his spot in the Vault for his sake. His mother spoke of him often as a good lawman, born in the wrong era. All she had of him was his black cowboy hat she had given him on his 10th birthday. He had a few friends growing up about his age, but for the most part, the majority of the residents were already a bit older than him. The girl Ninth with the scar across her face was always stuck out in his memory. She was the cool girl in class, and you could never talk to her unless you wanted to face humiliation. He was always nice to her, and she would always talk to him in passing. There was an older guy named Ash. He looked up to him in the Vault, had turned to his male role model, as it were. He had a thick southern accent and was cool as a fan, Tony's book. That's how it was for a time, until the day the Vault was due to open. There was a grand party that night before the Vault opened. Balloons, booze, music, and food. It was also the first time he had a Nuka-Cola, and he was hooked. How could such an amazing drink exist? The party was wild, and he had what was called whiskey shots with his friend Ash in the Vault cafeteria, which had his head spinning that night. Ash chuckled as the third shot had nearly knocked him out. "Drink some water, kid, and go eat. You'll survive," he said with a chuckle. He felt like he was invincible. That was until he stumbled into a friend from class and nearly wiped out the food table. Knife was leaning on the wall drinking a beer and laughed at his lack of coordination. "Newbie," she chuckled as he watched him untangle himself from sit down in the chair. A good meal later, and he was mostly sober. He grabbed another Nuka for the road and decided to call it a night, not knowing that he would be the last night and one of the last dwellers out of the Vault the following morning. Tony woke to the Vault PA system playing a recording from the Overseer telling everybody it was time to get out there and rebuild America. He stretched and yawned lazily in his bed, making sure to stretch his toes just so before swinging his legs over to the side of the bed. He looked at a picture of his late mom and pulled another of his boots on, lacing them up. There was a knock on his dorm window as his longtime friend from class the other day. We're the last ones out. See you out there, bro. As he ran past, Tony shook off the sleepies and milled about his apartment, looking at each item, knowing this would be the last time he would see it. That was unless he found a way to break back in later. He pocketed a few bobby pins and his dad's old cowboy hat and made his way out. He hoped old Ash was still around. He wandered down the halls visiting the various Mr. Handys as they gave him the camp kit backpack, various goodies for the road. Before he knew it, the great vault door slid open and he was shielding his eyes from the bright light and fresh air to his face. Tony stepped out into West Virginia, to a world that was vastly different from that of his parents knew. He wondered if Ninth was already out there someplace or still sleeping in her dorm. Before he considered anything else, the vault door slid shut, sealing his thoughts away, leaving him to look down at the forested hills. And that's my story. The end!
The end!
All right. Okay, so apparently Discord's still kind of being a turd, which is why some of them sound a little garbly. That's, again, nothing we can do anything about. It's not as bad as the 2 weeks ago, but yeah. Figures, why is it when we're playing the games, it's all perfectly clear, but the second we need to do and sound semi-professional, garbly. Garbly.
Garbly.
All right.
Garbly.
Well, what about you, Sibs?
Yes. I've also got a Fallout recording to read. So we're all in the Fallout mood.
It's kind of our going with the 76th episode and going into this. It's kind of a theme that was unintentional, but worked out in timing.
Yeah, and since we're planning on trying to do a live stream of it, you know.
And don't
Just
worry,
kinda
the
get-
live stream will be at the very heart of what Fallout is all about. Nothing serious at all.
But fun.
But
since
fun,
we're,
nothing serious.
trying to get into characters. But, okay. This is Reclamation Day, 9th Gray, Hollow Entry 1. There's a click. The wind whistles as it blows. A soft, quivering voice comes next, speaking in a resigned tone. I am 9th Gray, and I'm a survivor of Vault 76. I'm 23. I am 5'6" tall. I guess right now I weigh around 120 pounds. I have bronze-colored skin with blotches of faded color all over my body. 2 large patches on the left side of my face. This is due to a childhood accident, which I'll get to later. I also have white hair and pale-colored eyes. I studied botany, and then I trained to work with plants as I went through the school in the vault. Okay, that's me in a nutshell. I'll give you a brief history about me. I was born in the vault. My dad, Newt, was an astrobiologist, and my mom, Bay, was a molecular chemist. So, of course, both were welcomed into the vault with open arms. I was born about a year and a half after the sealing of the doors. I had never known anything but the safety of the vault till Reclamation Day. I attended school and had a normal life, just like all the other kids in the vault. My only issue was when I was 3, too young to remember, I had an accident which caused the pigment in my skin to bleach out in spots. My mom had brought home some of her work. Well, of course, being a 3-year-old, I managed to get into it. I stayed in the medical ward for several months, and in the end, all that happened was I was left with light blotches all over my skin and white hair. My mom never brought her work home again. The skin thing wasn't so bad growing up. Kids stared. As I got older, I used it to my advantage. It made me look odd, so in turn, I acted odd. My dad also said, "Oh, nice. You just marched to the beat of your own drum, darling. There's nothing wrong with that." I really miss them. I was a loner in school. With my looks, it was easy to stay away. I started dyeing my hair around the age of 12. It ranged from every color I could come up with. Right now it's a pale pink because it is starting to fade out. I worked hard in school and learned to become a specialist in botany. My parents seemed sad. I didn't follow in their specialties, but I had no interest in astrobiology or whatever a chemist does. Plus, now I'm glad I did. I'm able to survive off the plants. Oh, yeah. As I got around 20, I finally started to make friends. There were a few people that I really hope made it out okay. TA being one of them. He was really cute. A guy that was a little older than me all through school. We never talked, just a passing hello or hi. But he was so cute and all the girls wanted to catch his eye. On occasion, I would catch him looking at me. He was probably staring at my patches. I don't know. But the last night in the vault, I saw him drinking with Ash as they were finishing up with the celebration. TA was really drunk. He stumbled right in front of me. I smirked, and he blushed. He was so cute. Ash. He's another one I hope that made it. He was a good guy, and I bet he would have known how to handle himself in this godforsaken world. TA stood for Tony Anderson. Well, here's hoping. So here goes. I came out of the vault like all the others, with little supplies and a holotape recorder. What we expected was not what we found. It was a foreign, hostile world. Wait. What was that? A click and silence. And that's mine.
Is she gonna be okay?
You okay?
You
I don't know.
okay?
I
I'll
know,
show
it
you
just
another
sounds so sad.
She's probably rad turds right now.
Probably dressed in this really cool golf outfit with a chef's hat on, running around with a bomb collar.
Like a lunatic, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, all right. Well, I got mine too. Because I'm a nerd, I wanted to see if I can make it different. So here's mine. This is Sergeant Ash Talbot, Vault-Tec Security. I'm a survivor of the day the bombs fell 25 years ago. I was only just a recruit at the age of 16. Yeah, I lied, but we all did to serve our country against the Reds. I remember ushering and scared and frightened civilians in Vault 76 in my great state of West Virginia. It was chaos. The sound of the hydraulics as the great door wheeled into place, the sobs of fear. One little brat in a Vault-Tec onesie smelled like he done shit his diaper. Years, they came and went. Picked up the name Ashen Phoenix along the way, rising up like a fiery bird of legend when there was a core breach in some of the power generators. Managed to get the techs out through a wall of fire and a bit of trickery. Hated it. Something powerful. Just 'cause my name is Ash, they thought that they were being a clever lot. Bunch of goddamn eggheads with their jackass senses of humor. Hair turned white too after the core breach. Pretty much locked into the nickname at that point, and there is just no way to undo it. 25 years. The same faces, the same stories. And life moved on. The youngins growed up, got schooled, learned to shoot, learned to survive, but it didn't prepare them. Hell, it didn't prepare me, and I played out every sim we had to completion. Last few days were a bit of a party before leaving the vault. Reclamation Day. We all head out into the world and reclaim it. Well, that was the idea anyhow. Sat with some pup that had worked under me and growed up underground like so many others. It was not a first for everyone, but in the morning, we'd all go our own way. Damn fool thing to do in retrospect. I've come across more Vault-Tec jumpsuit filled with holes, beaten into a red paste, and one feller, he done got his head literally shoved up his own ass. Guessing them's the super muties. Then there's the commie bots. Oh yeah. Apparently the commies sent their junk over. Little things like robot fleas. Ain't too dangerous if they don't catch you unawares, but damn annoying. Hell, scattering of them little bastards was right outside the vault when I was leaving. Can you believe that? Commies. Right on our doorstep here in Appalachia. Had about enough of it all, though. I'm gonna head back out and look for others from 76 that might still be alive. There's too many things out there that want to shoot you, stab you, smash you, or downright eat you. Fully stocked, locked, and loaded. Let's find some Americans and rebuild. And there you go. So that's our stuff. Hopefully
Very
we'll
nicely done.
make it fun. Hopefully it will be entertaining if you're able to catch it. I'll record them and I'll actually put them up over on our YouTube channel, which we do have, youtube.com/RPMMO Radio. We actually
That's gonna be
upload
cool.
the
I'll have to
stuff
listen to
there.
it to hear it, though.
Yeah, well, it's in the host chat. You just have to click on it up above.
Oh, I
Yeah.
missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
So, well, there you go. And hopefully, I think it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be an interesting experiment, especially for a bunch of old fogies like us that don't really do that kind of thing. Jazz, I hope you're not supposed to be muted. If you're talking, you are.
She's done it to herself, boss.
Yeah, she did.
Nah, I'm just making sure I've done it too. All right, so moving on to our topic, which is, I mean, it's kind of it happens. It happens all the time. It's kind of miscommunications, misunderstandings, resolutions, how these things come about, and how they make you feel. It happened between Jazz and I. We're gonna try to be as honest as we can with each other. I think everybody actually has these thoughts and these feelings, even though they may be irrational at the time. You still have them. I mean, that's why they're called feelings. If they were rational all the time, you would never fall in love, because there's absolutely nothing rational about that. And yet you wouldn't get pissed off when the guy at McDonald's only gives you 8 nugs instead of the 10 that you deserved and paid for. And the rational mind does keep you from jumping over the counter and beating him senseless with a handful of McDonald's straws. Or is that just me that has that urge?
I'm thinking it's just you.
I mean, I like their nugs.
There's better things to beat them with than straw.
Yeah, but it's just handy.
That's, I never go to McDonald's. If I go to Whataburger and if they mess something up, I just kindly go,
Oh,
hey,
man.
I think we're missing something. Like, oh, I'm so sorry. They'll bring you a whole fresh order for free.
Don't get me started on fucking Whataburger.
So,
If you can't figure out the difference between the word bacon and sausage, and I order bacon, and you give me that nasty-ass Krabby Patty bullshit you call a sausage patty, yeah, I'm going to shove it down your throat, because that shit's nasty. It's nasty.
you sound like you got some latent hostilities there, man. Bad
Just
breakfast
a
order, I
little.
think.
50% of the time, I can order the breakfast on a bun with bacon.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, 50% of the time it comes out fucking sausage.
Do you go to the drive-thru?
Yes.
That's your problem.
I check it now in front of them. I sit there with the bag. I open it while making eye contact. I'll take out that burger, and I will open it in front of them. And if it's bacon, I look like an asshole. But if it's sausage, so help me God, I will throw it at
I
them.
see.
And I will say, give me another.
Okay.
with bacon this time. And now, because of your screw up, double it for free.
Yeah, they'll do it.
You're so awful. I swear.
Yeah, man wants what he wants. They give him the wrong thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of those sausage patty sausages things. It's just
I can't eat any of it, so.
well, yeah, because you have the diet of a garden variety rabbit. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You're
Which I'm on for the third day in a row. So.
Oh, no wonder that explains the attitude. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, you're almost like a vegan or a vegetarian, but at least you're doing it unwillingly, and it's the only excuse I give you.
I actually eat a lot of meat, thank you. I just
Okay,
eat maybe
good.
vegetables only.
Oh yeah.
I'll accept it.
Okay.
But you still
I'm very much an omnivore.
do you eat kale?
No.
Good.
Kale is disgusting.
Because kale is just a weed that people have made trendy.
True
No, it's
story,
not.
bro. True story.
Kale is very good for you if you can handle the taste. It's just too peppery for me. I don't like it.
It's like eating dandelions that were shit out by other dandelions.
It is not. It's very spicy and peppery, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I don't eat it. It's 'cause
Oh,
it
it tastes like
good.
second-rate lettuce to me.
Yeah, it's like
I'm one of those people that can't have cilantro because it tastes like soap.
oh yeah,
and-
I've heard of that. That is such a
I've heard
weird
that,
thing.
too.
That's weird.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it tastes
so-
like soap to me. It doesn't. Curly parsley tastes fine, but cilantro tastes like somebody poured Dawn on it and gave it to me. It's disgusting.
So
And
you're not a fan of
It's
street
awful.
tacos. That's what I'm hearing.
So
No.
roleplay other than kale.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we had Jez and I and the rest. I think the other two may have been playing 76 actually. But
yeah,
We
they
were.
pretty much abandoned us. So
yeah. Well, I've just had
I'm
fun on
sorry.
Drax. Don't be apologize to her.
I,
After what she did to me, oh man.
And she stole my land in '76 in retribution. I know what she was really thinking.
You had it coming. All right, so Jazz, you want to set up the scene?
Well,
I only say that because you have a better memory than I do.
I
clearly.
don't really.
And
no.
that's still saying something.
That's still saying something because I have the memory of a guppy. Anyway, I jotted down some notes in preparation for this. So, Kia is the bartender during guild night, and she's the guild leader. And in the past, when we've had vampires that are with us, I will send them a tell and ask them, as a mage and someone that is very skilled as a mage, would she be able to tell? And usually they say yes, and then she pours them a glass of from a black bottle. And there's several different kinds of bottles. They're not, so nobody would know what she was doing. There's an array of them, and I describe them differently every time. That have various kinds of blood that she gathers and stabilizes for her vampire people. And so they can actually drink when they're there and not look so obvious by not having a drink in their hand. So I swear on a stack, I had this conversation with you when you first made him.
Mhm.
But I've poured that, and then I reminded Ashen what it was.
Because you
And-
poured
silly.
it. You poured a nondescript bottle, and then
Yeah.
I made the show in character of not drinking it until she told them what it was, and that's when you sent me the tell saying exactly what it was, and that's kind of where our conversation and diverged.
Yeah.
Because as I apparently in Sib, who had to go for a second, confirmed to me that you actually have on a few occasions brought that bottle out to him, and
Yes.
apparently I had never caught that. I guess I just wine is what I thought, but because that was
Well, each time I would send you a tell and tell you what
See,
it was.
and that was where that last time, that was the first time I've ever gotten a tell that I can remember saying what it was. Now, I'm not saying you didn't, but when I did say I didn't get it, what did you think, and how did that make you feel though?
Well, I felt defensive because I know that I had, and I'm very careful with God-Modi kind of things so that I don't cross that line. And I always check initially, would she be able to tell? This was back when he still looked like a vampire.
Right.
And, you had said probably she's a mage.
Or, yeah, necromancer. Mage, no.
Well, she's not a necromancer, but she's very good at that sort of thing.
Right,
and
that's what I mean.
She dabbles in it so that she can tell.
Right, that's why I said yes for that.
Yeah.
But most other people,
Because she's an assassin. She's secretly an assassin, and she's dabbled in a lot of death stuff. So she's very aware and has to be aware because of what she does if she's dealing with a vampire or not. So she's learned how to deal with it. And I always explain that initially that's where where it comes from, and that she wants to make sure that they have a drink in their hand because it's not obvious.
Yeah, right. And see, in Elder Scrolls, for example, there's not one type of vampire. I think they said there's over 100 different variations of them.
There's 100 different strains at least.
Yeah, and he's a Cyrodiilic one, which in Cyrodiil, in the Empire, there's only one kind. Because they've wiped out all the others, and most of them are actually able to pass as human. From the lore's tenuous, but from what it sounds like, they can pass as human, which means they can eat and drink normally. But during the day, they don't have like super strong vampire strength and stuff like that. But they can actually pass for human. They don't have to look all pale or bat-like or all that other stuff.
The more they
that comes
feed, the
with
more
it.
mortal they look. If they don't feed, they get all their powers and they look like a walking corpse, essentially.
Right. Yeah, and if they're a high vampire, which means they've made a direct pact with Molag Bal, it's a much different story. Even on top of that, there's several of them in different games and things like that. And apparently, it's rare, but it's not as uncommon as one would think. But he is definitely of the Cyrodiil line, so I've always had it up to that point, as far as I could remember. Again, I don't ever remember Jazz sending me this stuff. I do remember having the conversation that we had about would she be able to sense that he's a vampire, and I was like, well, I mean, if she's necromancy-ish, and if that's her forte, then yeah, even him trying to hide it, she'd probably at least get the essence of it. But I would never have allowed him to drink blood in the presence of others, because it's even if it's nondescript, because there's other people there's werewolves with good senses and this and that, and just if somebody grabbed his cup and took a drink, what is this? Oh, it's blood. Don't worry about it. So he doesn't ever take that chance, which is why had I known that or caught on earlier, I would have let her know then. But I'm obtuse. Obtuse, is that the word? Yeah, we're gonna go with it. So I really don't, I really don't remember you ever having sent the tell before that night. And I know you said otherwise, but I'm not saying you're wrong. But when you had said no, I've told you multiple times, I was like, well, no, you haven't. I got defensive. So at this point, we're both defensive. You there? Jazz?
What?
Oh,
yeah,
okay. I'm worried about Discord tonight.
Yeah, no, I'm here.
Okay.
I've actually got my stupid microphone working like it's supposed to, so I'm not getting a lot of feedback.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you're still sounding like hot garbage because we all are.
Yeah.
Because Discord's being a turd head again. So right now we're kind of both defensive, and we start having a back and forth of well, no, you didn't, and yes, I did. Well, I don't remember it. That kind of thing.
It was very brief, and then I just said, well, if that's what you want, then that's the way it is. It's that
right.
Simple.
But at this point, too, when she says that, me being who I am and knowing women, I had the feeling that she was unhappy and not thrilled with the way that ended, because it cut off rather abruptly. Or as our daughter would say, eruptly. Because the B is silent. I don't know why. I don't know where public education, everybody. So
it's abruptly.
Yeah,
so
I know.
He is actually not silent.
No,
but,
yeah, it was a okay, side story. Yeah, she actually said that to Sib. It's like, yeah, that happened or Sib said that was abrupt. And she's like, it's erupt, Mom. The B is silent. Sib was like, no, it's not.
No, actually, it's not. Yeah.
They pulled out your cell phone, didn't you?
She did.
Oh,
And
yeah.
she's like, I'm going to prove you wrong. And I'm like, yeah, go for it.
Of course she did.
The cell phone lady said no.
Abruptly. Abruptly.
And she goes-
Abruptly.
And then her next thing was, dang it, I've been saying it wrong this whole time. All I could do was laugh.
And no one corrected her at school.
No.
Public education, everybody.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
So at this point, she served the drink. He made a show, Draxus, my vampire, who's, doesn't, unlike a lot of vampire players, is
Can
not.
I throw something in real just quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know, and also on the tell thing, when you send people tells, we could miss them. That was one
Right.
thing I was going to say. I heard you guys talking about it, and it happens because I've missed tells before from people, and it's like, they'll send me another one saying, I sent you a tell, are you okay? Is there a reason you're not talking to me? And I'm like, what?
Yeah. Well,
It happens.
yeah, and there's any number of things. It could be, I always try to give Jazz the benefit of the doubt, just as she does with me. It could be that she's done it to so many other vampire players that she just you thought I was one of them. It could be you did it to me and I either completely forgot, which is entirely possible, or I missed it. So there's any number of explanations as to why, but in the moment, we were both kind of on the defense, and we were feeling like the other one was kind of accusing. We were each accusing each other of the same thing, without actually having been accused of it. Because,
Adding in, sometimes you read tells and you don't know what that
Mhm.
person's intention is. You don't know if they're coming off half-cocked, if they're just being,
yeah,
concerned. So sometimes I think we let ourselves take it to that place like super quick when it's not the case sometimes.
we what's the thing when you put your emotion on somebody else and blame them for your feelings? What's that thing? Transference.
Transference.
Thank you.
Transference,
Yeah, we do that because, I would feel bad if I had actually missed it, and I'm sure she would too. And I think at this point we're both like,
And I will say, on the other thing you hit on when I wasn't here, Jazz had emoted giving him
yeah,
using the special bottle. Because
Before.
I had read that, and I assumed, just knowing that out of character he was a vampire, that it was blood. I assumed that. Even
See.
though I didn't, I never actually talked to your character to know he was truly a vampire. Just
yeah, projecting. Thank you,
that's
Haas.
all
That's another one.
I thought.
Yeah, projecting was actually the word I was looking. I guess they both work, but yes, thank you, Haas. Projecting. See, at least the trucker knows what's going on around here.
Oh, no.
What? He's a trucker. He said it from the great state of
That's
Texas.
true.
He's one of your people.
He's good. He's a good guy.
Yeah, I know, right? So, so we have a quick back and forth, and I'm feeling kind of like I mean, I'll be honest. I was annoyed enough that I actually logged out for. I left the thing and logged out because I felt like she was, making assumptions about the character in which I had never wanted or never intended, and I got annoyed. So I logged out and went over to Tarvala and did some house decorating for a little bit. And calm down because I knew I needed to just. I know Jazz well enough to know that when I'm irritated with her, I probably shouldn't be irritated with her. But that doesn't stop me from being irritated with her. And Jazz, I don't know if you were feeling the same way or not. I mean, feel free to fill in the blank.
I was disgruntled because I know what I had said previous, and I was surprised because we've had several conversations about it, and you've never said anything like that before. And so it felt kind of out of the blue for me, and that always
Right.
shocks me because I try so hard to keep track of each person's RP, and I take notes and of each character and what they do and don't allow because everybody's different.
Right.
What could have
And-
possibly come over Master Ashton? He never expressed any unhappiness with my service.
Yes, basically. Like that. I tend to be extremely obsessive about the details like that
Right.
because I have a shitty memory, and if I don't write it down, I won't remember. So I write down what I do, and then, for me to suddenly have him mad at me felt very uncomfortable for me because I felt like I was in the right and I hadn't done anything wrong, and he was mad at me, and then he logged out, and I knew he was mad at me.
There's
So I
something
just-
that I pick up from I know the same thing you guys are going with. Sometimes we know each other so well that familiarity breeds contempt. Like, you know how that person's going to react, and sometimes you're just off your game.
And then when we're surprised that they didn't react how we thought,
it
really throws us off.
So sorry,
Right.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but I was just throwing that in there.
Put in your guys' 2 cents. That's the whole point of all this.
Yeah.
You muted yourself to say that, sweetie.
She did it to herself.
You were unmuted and then you muted yourself to stop talking. So, yes.
Can't help it.
But so yeah, and at this point we're basically at the same time. I mean, and we're both feeling the exact same thing. I feel like I also try to be very detail oriented, especially on this character who is very, very observant, and I'm trying not to play him like your typical, I'm a vampire, look at me, I got bat wings, and I shoot bat signals out my butt and all this kind of stuff. And I am the most fearsome vampire ever. Blah, 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 blah. That kind of thing. I'm trying him being a vampire is actually not the forefront of his character. He's got a lot of other qualities. The vampire thing is just something that's actually more in the background.
That's a bonus.
Right. Because I've talked shit about vampires all the time, kind of like I'm doing right now. So I wanted to see. It was like, well, put your money where your mouth is,
Yeah.
If you think you can do it better, don't, talk's cheap. Prove it. So when she came off like that, and I don't mean that like that sounded, but when she said that, I felt like, well, she was not paying attention to what I had been planning on and what I had already said before. So clearly there was a miscommunication somewhere. And I think part of what happens too is Jesus, Jess, how long has it been? 2005, I think we've said.
Yeah.
So
That's when we
14
first
years
met.
now?
Yeah.
14 years. That's a long time to know some family members.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got family members I've known less than Jazz. I've known Jazz longer than my own wife. I mean, that's how long I've known Jazz.
That's crazy, man.
Right. It's scary to think of. And we've never met face to face, by the way. Just keep that in mind.
I'm going to try to do that this summer, but yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see if it works
Right.
this time.
Is that the Fabled Vive show?
Yeah, that would be cool. But so at this time, we've known each other for so long that we make a lot of assumptions we make a lot of assumptions as well on our characters. I'm sure you've noticed it, Jazz, too, but we both do. We both do it where when our characters get together, there's just a certain synergy that comes about because we've known each other for so long. Whereas with other people, you or I would definitely ask, like, hey, is it okay if I bleh, whatever. We don't even do that really anymore. Very rarely, right?
No, that's very true.
Yeah, like we had an interaction with Draxilus and her other character, Seal, and it was completely off the cuff. I mean, we kind of met up together, but we really didn't know how it was going to go. And the direction it went ended up with him giving her an idea on how to fix a problem, but in order to help her with that and for the magic to work, he had to have her utmost trust. Otherwise, there was no chance it would work. And it went from her trying to leave everything behind and bail because things, kind of went sourly and she felt like she lost her family, to living behind the barn in his manor that he's rebuilding. And it just happened, when any other time you would be like, I would have asked like, hey, are you cool with this happening or whatever? And no, we just did it. It was all in character. I think the entire thing from beginning to end on that one, it was like an hour long of roleplay without one out of character, like other than be right back. I'm back, And then at another time when they were getting to know each other actually at the manor a week or two later, we went through the entire, it was 2 hours?
Yeah,
probably 2 hours of roleplay. And remember, Jazz has said on here several times, she doesn't do one-on-one roleplay very well. It's not her most enjoyable thing. But with the information and everything, it just 2 hours of roleplay solid with very, very minimal OOC other than like, did you mean this word? Because I type stupidly. But you can't really think about the way you role play with somebody, especially if you've just met them and you only know them a year or less or even a few years. if you tried to role play with somebody for a solid 2 hours straight, how much of that time would you be able to keep it completely in character? I mean, really, really do that. It doesn't happen very often. I've noticed it with Jazz because, again, we've known each other for so long. But with anybody else, that just doesn't happen. It's really got to be someone you know on a personal friendship level, as we do. It really changes the dynamic of your role play in a lot of ways, which means when that synergy desyncs a little bit, it ends up with a little bit of hurt feelings, unintentionally or not, even though you're still good friends. Almost like family fights. It just happens. So
I agree with that, yeah.
Yeah, I logged out and I cooled down and logged back over and came back and went back to it and sent her a tell, like, hey, sorry, I forget the exact words.
You just said I wanted to make sure you were okay.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure you weren't upset with me, and that we're good. And then we were after that, after we both calmed down, we're both kind of hot-headed at times.
A little bit.
A little opinionated, a little strong-willed. Would you say, Jess?
A little bit. Yeah.
Sib, you agree with that? A little strong-willed.
I can't really speak for Jazz, but oh, heavens above, you are.
I don't know why you had to make it sound negative.
Sometimes it can be negative.
No, it's never negative. When I'm always right. How can that possibly be negative?
Whatever.
As I was in this case as well, of course.
Of course.
So really, I sent that to her, and I know, I knew she was upset with me. She could tell I was upset with her. But sometimes we also, at the same time, we also know each other well enough to know that when that happens, chill. Don't keep pushing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll need a bit of space. You need to take a breath. You need to step away from the moment and think on all the ways in roleplay, especially given all the things we say on this show, that it could have gone wrong. That all the ways that we could have miscommunicated. For us doing the show in voice, we actually don't talk outside of now Fallout, which that's a totally different beast. But I don't like voice Discord being in there when I'm role playing. So we don't have that available to us. So it's all, the majority of our communication is through type, which is a very clumsy way of really going about it at times. And a lot of things get missed. And I think that's, there's no one at fault here, really, other than Jazz. But other than that, there's nobody at fault here. And Sib for not being there.
What? How
You're guilty by absence.
Guilty by absence. Oh. Well, yes, it's a good thing I took Jazz's side.
Yeah, and thank you, Voss, for bringing up toxic masculinity. That was another conversation Jazzo and I have had. It turns out toxic masculinity came from all the children of the Toxic Avenger, is what we decided. And if you actually get that reference, God help you, you're old. You're very old. So, in the end, yeah, we just had to chill out. We had to come to terms that somewhere along the line, we got our wires crossed, clearly. She thought was thinking one thing. I thought she understood something completely different, or I had completely missed it. However it happened, somewhere along the line, something dumb got shitted. Mm-hmm.
Did you say shitted?
Dumb got shitted.
Okay.
It got shat.
Chat?
Got
You're on a
shatted.
roll.
Shited?
No.
I'm running out of shit terms. So, but these kind of things happen all the time. They really do. And if this can happen between, someone that's known each other, for two people that have known each other and role-played each other for over 14 years, imagine how it happens to somebody that's just starting out, or two people just starting out. Or, if you're in a crowded place and the text is flying and you can't expect everything to be caught. just the amount of detail that I can catch when we did our one-on-one jazz compared to the amount of detail that we can catch when we're in a crowded, like, tavern setting. I mean, it's vastly different.
Oh, you miss so much in crowded settings.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. You're gonna miss.
Yeah, because even if jazz, you can read 5,000 words a second, you're still going to miss some nuances and things like that.
And it's
Really?
all how you take it in. I mean,
Really?
What?
You're so-
I'm just saying, that's what I've heard. 5,000 words a second.
That's not that fast. Yeah.
Oh, see,
I
now
type 100 words a minute. I
now-
read 2,000 words a minute, not 5,000.
like you guys all heard her. She said that was not that fast. She could read faster. I believe in her.
That's not what I said. I can't believe that you didn't hear this.
I know. I heard what you said. I just chose to hear it differently. Proving my other point that I hadn't gotten to. Sometimes you hear things differently, especially in type. If someone says something, like, for example, Jazz, what you were saying, like you pull out the nondescript bottle right over my friggin' head. Didn't catch it. Didn't catch it at all. Until that, I don't know how many, and Sib confirmed it. You've done that to him multiple times.
yeah. When he was telling me about it, I was like, she's out that nondescript bottle before, and that's the one I was saying. I just assumed it was blood. I never said anything on my character because my character and his character don't really talk a lot.
You've not had the
But
opportunity yet.
I just assumed it was blood because knowing his character's a vampire, but I didn't know.
Yeah. So, until you had done it this last time, what we're talking about, Jazz, never seen it before. I'm not saying you didn't do it. Never seen it. I mean, not that I remember. Never read it, or I glanced over it or missed it entirely. That was the first time I'd ever seen it, which is why I reacted with him the way I did, because I'd never noticed it before. Had I definitely would have done it earlier, but I never did. And, whatever that was or whatever the reason is, it just didn't happen. And it's fairly easy.
Exactly.
Really easy to just miss things. I mean, unless I know, I'm not saying this is bad, but I know, like, Ashen, he's got 2 monitors.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's role playing, he might have something funny up on the other screen, watching and reading. So it happens. I don't know how many people have, might be looking or tabbing in and out and trying to keep up. It's not a good thing to do, especially when you're in a crowded RP
Yeah, and I tried to do it
environment.
less, unless of course it's a poetry thing and someone's up on the stage. Frankly, doesn't matter where I'm at. I'm not reading it. Those things. Poetry is poor man's music that doesn't know how to play an instrument. That's all.
I
Poetry is.
suspected you were doing that during poetry hour, you fetcher. No, it's all good.
No, it's all right. That's just me. I think poetry is just awful. All of it. It's just all bad. Even though I have Drax go up there and do poetry, it's just because he's into poetry. I think it's dumb. Very dumb. It's not good.
It's just not your cup of tea, but it's other people's cup of tea.
Yeah, well, some of their tea's piss water. Just saying. They're drinking piss water. Piss water.
It's called dirt water.
Hey man, it's called dirty water. I like unsweet tea. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Just ragging on me, dang.
Yeah, well, you Texans. It's a big target. That's what you get for being one of the big states.
There we go. Gonna lose our one Texas listener. Way to go.
Nah, we'll still have Strafe.
He doesn't
I'm kind of
count.
stuck here.
And he doesn't listen to the show. I mean, let's be honest. None of you do. You don't even listen to it while you're on it. You're just like, I'm here.
What'd you say?
Exactly.
What?
So, you got anything to add, Jazz?
No, I think you've covered it really well. I mean, the bottom line is, especially if you have this happen with someone you don't know well, is to decide how important it is to you. Picking a fight with you was going to solve anything. And if you truly believe that I hadn't talked to you, then the whole thing was moot and I had to redact everything anyway. So whether it really happened or not doesn't matter, because if you don't remember it or you've changed your mind or whatever the reason is, the retcon's going to have to take place. So I just assumed that it had and moved on.
Yeah.
Always remember,
Go ahead.
only the three of us minus the boss get the I remember differently power once a day, and he's the progenitor of that power. So if he says it, hey, you kind of go with it. That's his domain.
Yeah. Well, in this case,
All
too.
kidding aside, yeah.
No,
go
you're
ahead.
right. But yeah, and that's basically like if Jazz has been serving this blood concoction to him in public, that had to be retconned, because I would have, like I had said from the outset, he wouldn't do that. He just orders the Cyrodiilic red wine, and that's all I've ever remembered him really. I mean, he's ordered a few other different wines, but he would never drink, blood like a blah 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 vampire out in public, because that's not something he does out in public. It's just there may be times when that stuff comes about, but the nonchalant I'm a vampire it's not a thing. That doesn't it's not something in his character. It wouldn't work for the type of vampire bloodline that he has. So yeah, we ended up, at least that part of it had to kind of be retroactively retcon. I mean, given serving somebody a drink retcon is really not that big of a deal. And when you think of the whole perspective of it, of course, it was a silly thing for us both to get upset at, but it was just because, and a lot of the stuff, it is the little details that do kind of matter. Obviously in real life, it's a very stupid thing to get upset about. But excuse me.
Here's something.
Good grief.
At least you and Jazz know each other well enough. You guys can work through it and talk it out, and then come back and be just like you were. It can be a RP, roleplay friend ruiner.
Minefield, yeah.
Yeah. If you get somebody that can't work through it with you, it can ruin a RP relationship.
It's where the he said, she said debacle turns into the whole Guild War riot. We don't talk to those guys anymore because of some small little deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I've seen
so
that before.
You really need to learn how to, get over it. Take some time or get
Work
over
through
it.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
work through it with people.
I hear Pargnar's got a great book out. I'm just saying.
Get over it!
Yeah, and that's kind of why I wanted, because this Jazz. When was the last time we had a miscommunication? I mean, given it's over drinking blood wine, basically. So not in the ways of miscommunications and what we've seen other people do. It's a small thing. But when was the last time we've had something even this small happen between us? I mean,
I don't even remember. 'Cause
Right.
Normally we don't. We just kind of understand.
yeah,
I don't. I mean, you've known things about my characters in character that I didn't tell you, but I'm okay with that because we know that your character would have a reason for doing that, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I infer it from what you've said in character, even if you haven't told me out of character. And which is, obviously, that seems like it's fine. If you find out something about somebody based on guesswork and the little things they've said in character. But yeah, I'm like you, I can't remember the last time we've had a miscommunication on even this small of a scale, to be frank. Which is why I thought it was kind of important, because it does happen so rarely, but it still can happen. Even, but like I've said, between old friends. And if it can happen between us, if you're brand new to role play and you're meeting a guy for the first time, and he or she infers something about your character that is completely wrong, but they stick with it as though it was fact. Not that that's what we did, but still. That can, like Sib said, really, really sour the well and just ruin everything from there on out. And being most of this happens in type still, even with Discord, and a lot of times people won't go to voice to air their grievances. it can escalate quickly. A small thing can really spiral out of control because then you compound it with other things they've done, and then it turns into a giant snowball of, well, you just never listen to me. You're always God modding.
Yeah, that's good for nobody at that point.
Right. So it was an opportunity we don't really always get all that often, with a specific scenario. But hopefully it was a little helpful. Does anybody have anything else to add on this stuff here?
I think because I've been a guild leader for a long time and I've had to deal with this between other people, where I've had to mediate, and say, it obviously wasn't on purpose. This person was just assuming something, or you have forgotten and you don't remember. So if you don't want it to be that way, we retcon it. It's over. It's done with. Move on. And just like we did, it doesn't have to be complicated. But when you get egos involved, it can be really complicated. And I've had people leave guilds. I've left guilds over this nonsense. So when people won't listen and take it personally and start rallying people to crucify you because you made a mistake.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
And I've had to, defend people going, it obviously wasn't on purpose. You need a hobby. And obviously roleplay isn't one of them. Okay, that was uncalled for, but I was...
but
That's how you really feel, Jazzy.
It was uncalled for, but was it wrong?
No, it wasn't.
There you go.
There it
I
is.
should get my dander up, man. Well, I
Right.
especially when I'm defending someone, I tend to get acidic.
I would say snippy, but acidic works too.
Acidic. That's
I thought you said acidic, and I was like, wait a minute, why am I toxic?
acidic.
Yeah, no.
I'm the nice one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the nice one.
Not when I'm in Fallout.
No. Then you die.
Me and Jazz both have our dark sides in Fallout.
Yes. Yeah, my headshot is getting much better. Yeah.
Hey, look at that.
It is somewhat therapeutic, I have to say.
Yeah. So, well, but you're right too in the guild sense. If it's something small like that, and you're trying to be a reasonable human being, which I know is a rarity on the internet, it does occasionally happen, and you've got someone that has either a grudge or they're just not willing to listen to reason, really that's the only thing you can do, is just kind of wash your hands and go away. Say, all right, well, best of luck to you.
Yeah. No, I've been the guild leader. I've been in guilds where I've watched this kind of toxic behavior where you crucify someone for making a mistake, either IC or OSD, and they just won't let it go until that person leaves. And I've left because if that's how they're going to treat that person, they'll probably treat me that way eventually too. But overall, usually it's better to just say, okay, this happened, retcon, move on. It's simple, to the point, not a problem.
Yeah. And there are different. We've gone over retcons too, and again, pouring wine, very very small retcon. But when it comes to much bigger details of, I guess the bigger detail was the chance of outing him as a vampire. That was really the bigger detail. So that was far more important to keep that secret. But there are far bigger secrets that people might let out that they don't realize that they shouldn't have done. Or they're inferring based off of OOC things, and that there's any number of ways that these things can go wrong. Ours was just over a simple bloody drink, and the implication was that maybe he could be found out as a vampire. He wasn't. Nobody else got onto it. But that's it. It really can just take a small thing can really balloon into such a big drastic problem that it can split guilds, or it's that final straw that breaks the camel's back, really.
Yeah.
And Jazz and I don't have any. We are going to need a whole nother bale of hay before I think we get to that straw, because we've been through a lot.
Yeah.
You know, we've been through a lot of really bad people. We've been through at least one of us with a really bad spouse, and now a really good spouse. Love you.
The nice one.
Love you too.
So, you know, or as Jazz's case, crazy lunatic stalker spouse in game.
I've had my share, yes.
Right.
And you know, you can't always handle it diplomatically, and we've had situations where I've had to simply say, you know, I think it's best that you just go.
Bye, Felicia.
And can I just say something real quick, Jess?
Sure.
I have to say, you are probably one of the best guild leaders I've ever seen because you do handle things so well. I've
thank
not
you.
seen people, and we were talking about the group that left not too long ago from Milanu
Yeah.
and how you handled it. And I told Ash, and I said, I think she handled it perfectly because she gave them the option. She didn't boot them. She told them this was how it's going to be. This is her guild. If they don't like that, they can move on. You didn't kick them out. You gave them options. They didn't want to comply. It was their choice.
And there was a
And
very large amount of stuff going on
Yeah.
behind the scenes as well that most people didn't get to see.
And I don't see that. But
Yeah.
from the little bits I do see, I
pages and pages and pages
don't
of
know how
stuff
you
in officer
do it.
chat.
I really don't because I couldn't do it. I know I wouldn't want to, but you handle it very, very well.
Well, thank you.
Have to say that because I mean I'm very impressed with how
Probably part of the reason why I'm a social worker. There must be something wrong with me.
wrong with you, right?
I do it for a living, so
But no, it's really impressive how well you handle situations like that. Because I'd be like, you know what, get out of my face.
Go
Even
away.
when
you
I
know.
would, like,
And the funny part is that in officer chat, when we talk about things and we vent to each other, there's a lot of that, as Ashton can attest to.
Mhm.
And then we finally get to the point. I mean, I have been so mad I could spit, and then I go into officer chat and we all talk, and I calm down, and they were like, you know, we should do this or we should do this. And I was like, no, we need to do this. This is the sensible thing, no matter how pissed off I am.
Mhm.
You know, we even offered to compromise and give them something they wanted, but they wanted all or nothing. And I said, well, we're not changing, like you said, we're not changing the guild to fit you. This is the
Right.
guild. This is what I've decided. And if you aren't happy, there's the door. I'm not mad at you. There's no hard feelings. Just there.
At least
just
on
go.
your end.
Yeah. They, I think, were pretty pissed. But I wasn't angry, and if they ever saw them, I would very much, you know, play with them again. I have no hard feelings towards them because in the end, it came down to after letters were exchanged and there was conversation, I realized that the real problem, and often is in situations like this, excuse me,
Mhm.
is that it's different roleplay styles. And our guild roleplay style is very different than a lot of other guilds. And I think that causes miscommunications as well because
Right.
I don't talk OOC very often.
Yeah, and there are a lot of guilds that do, and frankly, that tends to have a lot more problems because then you get somebody inevitably touches on a topic of politics or religion or a joke about bending over and picking up the soap in prison, and then oh sure, well we're talking about kids and suicide. That joke's perfectly appropriate, but no, you can't do a prison joke. And they
Might
got
be still a little angry about that, I think.
well, it tends to stick in the mind at the hypocrisy of it.
Oh, it sticks
Yeah.
all right. Anyway.
Yeah. So, all right.
Anyway, but yeah, I think that in the end it comes down to taking a step back. Like you did. You logged out. You got some time to think. I went ahead and kept role playing, but I was obviously thinking about it and going over it in my head. Checked my notes. And I don't have anything written down for him, but I remember having the conversation.
Yeah.
And I wrote down that he was a vampire, which means that I did have that conversation at some point. I just didn't write down any details because it's you, and I often just go by the seat of my pants with your characters because,
We've
once
known
we
each
have
other
the
so long.
initial conversation, we don't generally talk too much after that.
Yeah.
So I had no real notes to fall back on per se, and I was just like, the wash.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, I think that about covers it. All right. See you guys later.
Yep. We beat this one to death, I think.
Yeah. I just wanted to cover it from every angle, like I said, because we've got. It doesn't happen often, and I want other people to know that when something like this happens and your feelers get hurt or you feel attacked or it happens. It does happen. But you take a step back, take a deep breath, 5 or 6 if you need it, and get over it!
And don't be afraid
And
to
move
retcon.
on.
I mean, I know that's something people don't like to do, but if it has to be done, it has to be done.
Yeah, and Jazz and I think we probably count on one hand the number of things like between us that we've retconned.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to. I mean, just I know it's not popular to do it, but
Yeah,
if it'll save, a friendship or something, just, go with it.
yeah,
'Cause you're probably gonna get a lot more on RP.
yeah. It's silly to lose a possible good role player just over a miscommunication. So at least make the effort. If you don't make the effort, you kind of get what you deserve, which is going to be a whole lot of nothing.
Loneliness.
Lonely role play. A lot of self-inflicted role play, if you know what I mean.
All by yourself.
Something
Wow.
like that, yes.
Something like that. Anyway, all right. Well, like Jess said, beating that horse. It's good in it's good in Gluey at this point. That
Ew.
so let's try something new. We're gonna go a little different direction this time. We're gonna we said earlier that this year we're gonna do a few things outside the box of just discussion and role play. The Fallout 76 voice role play story thingy is one of them. Though that just kind of fell in our lap despite the garbage fire that is their code. But we also had kind of wanted to try to do something a little more improv, a lot like our MMO multiverse debate. So let's go ahead and try that. And with that, what we're going to have is, whose role play is it anyway? Yeah. I'm sure you've all know the popular show, Drew Carey. There was a shitty version that the Britons did first, but frankly, Drew Carey and our crew were way funnier. Colin Mockery and all them guys, far superior to the horrible, horrible British version. Sorry, I'm just waiting. I'm just letting our Brits get it out, be offended, and then double down and say, "Yeah, you guys still suck." So, without apology, welcome to Whose Roleplay Is It Anyway, where the points don't matter and neither do your opinions. Joining us today is our roleplay crew: Sib, Jazz, and Strafe. I am Ashen Phoenix, and here is how we're gonna play. Do understand that I have not told any of this to the people on the crew, so they're hearing this for the first time as well, other than the fact that we would be playing this. I'm going to give a scenario, give various instructions, and as we play, I'll assign points, and the winner gets double what they're getting paid right now to appear on every show of this podcast. That's right.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to double what I'm paying you. Let
So,
that sink in.
yeah.
So, first
2
game...
times 0 is still nothing.
I reject your math and substitute my own. So here's the first game. What am I? I'm going to send and have sent each of them a typical RP character type and a strange quirk. So we were going to have Yoonface, so I'm going to take Yoonface part. So I will actually be participating in this. I'm going to set up the scene, and they'll play it out. And at the end of it, they'll all have to guess who the other people are and what their quirk was. And do remember, the game has no boundaries on either where the characters can come from game-wise or the archetypes. It's an open field of roleplay across all genres, just like the whole
So
thing.
no boundaries.
No
So
boundaries.
So we can touch, feel, and
Okay, well, I mean, there are HR boundaries.
Right.
There
Dang.
are. I mean, if that's what your character... It depends. I don't know. Maybe your character's touchy-feely. Well, I guess we'll have to find out. So, here's the scene. Because we're lazy, you find yourself in the most basic of basic taverns called, funny enough, the Basic Tavern. Before you are two dead men that just stabbed each other suddenly without a word spoken. Go.
Tell
my
you what,
gosh.
man. I tell you what, there's some dead dudes right there.
These
I have
guys,
no idea what you want us to do.
You
guys
now
just
you act out your
stabbed-
character that I sent you.
You didn't send me one.
Check your thing that you said LOL with. You
What?
literally said LOL. I sent you one. Look at your tells on Discord.
Oh!
There
That's
you
what
go.
meant. I thought you were referencing something else. Okay. I thought you were being a smart ass. No. Okay.
So, you find yourself in the most basic of basic taverns called the Basic Tavern. Before you are two dead men that just stabbed each other suddenly without a word spoken.
Shut up.
Go.
those two guys, they just stabbed themselves over me. They did.
Why?
Because look at me. I mean, really, I'm the best.
I tell you what, man, dang old stabbed each
I-
other. I'm really itchy today, man. I don't know why they stabbed each other, but they dead stabbed each other.
I'm telling you, they stabbed themselves over me.
I'm
mean-
pretty sure they were in line for the teacups.
No, the teacups.
Everybody-
Are stupid. Listen
No.
to me. The teacups have nothing to do with this.
This is the
I-
line for the
I-
teacups, and they was upset because they was in the line
No.
too long.
No, the teacups have. I'm telling you. You just listen to me.
Is it hot in here?
They stabbed themselves. No, it's not hot.
You ought to miss the
It's
point.
nice.
The point
It's
being
just
here
right.
is-
You need to shut up, lady. This is the line.
No, there's no line. Listen, okay?
Whoa, whoa.
Is this the line?
All-
Okay, hey, well, what kind of line
Take a
is that
picture
right
with
there?
me and these two guys. Here, I need a picture.
line is this? Is this the line?
What kind of line?
No, there's no. Oh my god. Get
I'll
over
tell
here
you
and
what,
take a
this
picture.
one
Here,
needs that
hold
line.
this camera and take a
If
picture
it's
of
what
me
I
with these
think
two
it is.
guys. I want to post it on my social media saying that these two guys stabbed themselves
Should
over
we
me.
take them into another room?
I tell you what, I don't care. Let's check this line out, 'cause it
I
smells
don't know.
like
No,
sweet sugar.
no.
Hey,
you shouldn't.
hey,
It's-
hey,
they're-
hey,
let 'em-
shut.
let 'em respawn.
Shut. No.
They'll respawn.
Is this hey, lady?
No, there's
Is
not
this
a
the
line.
line? Is this a line?
No, this is not a line. This is two
I
guys
looking
that stabbed
I
themselves
I was
because
looking for the
they were
teacups.
fighting over me. Okay, here, take my picture. Here, come on. Here, take the camera. Somebody. Really? Come on, you guys.
Why should I take a picture?
Because it's of me. You know,
Who are you?
I am the one, the only, the best smelling.
I tell you what, your whole voice is making my fur itch, and my fur don't itch easily. Now, where's the moon sugar
You
at?
know, if you would just use some dandruff control stuff, you wouldn't be itchy or smelly.
Smelly.
Anyway,
There's no smelly here.
where's the teacup guy with my
It's coming
camera?
from your social media
Hey.
account.
Teacup guy.
Hmm?
I need my.
Is my
I
turn?
need-
We ride now?
No, we take a
We
picture.
ride!
Oh gosh.
I like to
These
spin the
people
wheels.
ever learn.
The wheels is what we spin.
No.
Does
No.
anyone want this blood?
What?
No,
blood.
the blood goes.
Do you
over
want the
your
blood on the
goodness.
floor?
I tell you what, I'm gonna give them a quick spell over, make sure they don't.
All
have
right,
any-
that's enough.
Okay.
Man, this fucking Discord thing is pissing me off. I tell you what. It's so fucking
is.
garbled. I can't understand hardly half of what anyone's saying.
Yeah, it's bad. So,
All
but
right.
it's fun. We need to do something like that again when that's
Yeah, when
not
we can
like
understand each other.
garbage.
All right, so moving on. Hold on. Jazz, what do you
Yes.
think Sib was?
A
Remember the-
a narcissist star, like somebody that's well known.
All right, it's Strafe. What do you think? What do you think Sib was?
What do you think Sib was?
Mm-hmm.
Katy Perry.
Katy Perry. Going off of celebrities, I'd say more of a Kardashian. She is a know-it-all spotlight RPer that does everything they can to make it all about them.
Narcissist, I win.
Yep, that Jazz was
You were-
closest.
you were closest.
All right, so Sib, what do you think Jazz was?
I think she was the emo vampire.
All right, Strafe.
Emo wall cleaner is what I was thinking, but hey,
Yep.
is what it is.
Love gave it away.
Vampire assassin that can only ask questions. No matter what they say, it has to be a question, even if answering.
Oh, I love
That
it.
was hard, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, though. You did really well.
All right, so Jazz, what was Strafe?
He was a Khajiit.
I was going
I'm
to
not
say.
sure what else, but he was a Khajiit.
I'm sorry. I was cutting.
Go ahead, Sib. What did you think?
I was going to say Khajiit with a hair problem.
He was
With fleas.
he was George W. Bush playing a Khajiit that's addicted to moon sugar.
Oh my goodness. I thought he was a crackhead at first.
Why? The moon sugar.
I think it would have sounded. I think it would have come through. He was doing the accent as best he could, but it was garbled too badly to come through
got pretty
properly.
garbled.
It was a good accent. You did good. There were a few mannerisms you got in there. Yeah. You got a little GW in you.
Well, see, I was trying to get that to
That's
present,
right.
but
That's right. Yeah. All right.
We
Here's
got
what
cut
we're
off.
gonna do. Strafe, I have a plan to combat avian flu. All right. What we're gonna do first, we're gonna bomb Turkey, and from there, we're gonna move on to the Canary Islands. So, all right. And Jazz, what
Yes.
was I playing?
I couldn't tell, but it was really garbled.
which
so
one? though? You were playing two.
No, I was only playing one. I didn't.
Oh.
I actually took Yunfei's spot. I didn't have. I was gonna have. Just took what I was gonna give Yunfei, which is why I don't get a guess because I know what
Okay.
they're all are. So okay. So what about you, Sib? Did you could figure it out?
I was thinking like an obsessed, like amusement park rider.
Okay, it's Strafe.
Super excited, Dardar.
Well, it's ogre who thinks they were in line for the teacup ride at Disneyland.
Oh,
Very well done.
that works.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. Let's see. Again, we're gonna try this one more time. And if it doesn't work because we can't understand a fucking thing anyone's saying, then that's all there is. Yeah.
I was gonna say,
and we
I
are
don't
gonna need
think
to
it's
learn what Haas said
It's so...
and not talk over each other
Yeah.
because it gets confusing.
what he said.
So, but this one will actually be much easier. So next up is a game called Word to the Wise. Each one of you only gets as many words are allowed by this little 6-sided dice. I'm going to roll a dice. Each one of you are going to get a single word from 1 to 6 that you are able to say. And it will go in the order of Jazz, because it would, I guess me next, because it was going to be Yunfei, Strafe, and then Sib. So we're going to try to tell a story based on that. And each one of us, okay, so Jazz, you can say, whoops, you can roll a dice right into my crotch.
Nice.
No thanks.
Jazz, you get 4 words that you can speak. I get 4 words. Apparently this dice is loaded. Strafe, you get 2.
Yeah, I knew it was loaded.
And Sib gets 4. Wow. Okay. Well, that's a good
See how
dice.
that went.
Oh wow.
So 4, 4, 2, 4. And it will go Jazz, me, Strafe, Sib, and then back to Jazz until I don't know, we completely fuck it up, I suppose. So the story will be made up, but the premise is going to be to make up a story about trying to put a dress on a dragon.
But using 4 words?
Well, you use 4 words. You started off with 4 words. and then the next person takes up the next 4 words. Then Straffe will take 2, then 4. We only get 4 words each.
Oh, I see. Each time.
But it's a continual story
see.
that
Okay.
I'll pick up where you left off, Straffe, you pick up where I
Jazz
left
has
off.
The best part too.
It's like telephone.
It's like telephone, but we
He's got
tell the
those
story.
First 4 words.
Mm-hmm.
That's easy.
Ryan.
I would
Hey,
totally.
Ryan.
I would
And
totally
right,
do it.
so and where the story is about trying to put a dress on a dragon, because
Okay.
why wouldn't you? So go ahead, Jess.
Once upon a time,
I love you.
There was an
Eager dragon.
Who found a purple
dress, which was supposed
to be placed on
A dog.
So, she decided to
find a dog to put
That dress.
but skipped a guy, didn't you there, Straffe? Man, them Texans and counting.
Oh, I'll go after you, right? Action. Sorry.
On a dog to... I've totally lost track. Thanks, Straffe. Dog to put on a
I'm gonna play
dress.
back right now.
So that she could...
Look pretty.
When she stretched this
dress out. She found
It ripped in
that's 3.
half.
Spilling large.
oversized, that's one word, claws, making her
Want to find more
Skittles because she was...
Hungry. So,
she took the dog
and told it to
eat more Skittles. And
then she
took her ripped dress
and went to find
a bigger one. She
oh my god
found a
tent that was striped
and perfect as a
brand new moo dress.
She grinned.
and started to wear
goggles to help her
Do underwater aerobics.
one more word.
Whee! Okay. Okay.
This is
Stop.
painful.
Stop. Oh.
She danced.
No. We're done.
Kill
We're done.
the
We're
end.
done. We're done. No more. No more. Oh, wow. So as you can see, our improv skills a little refining, a little bit. I think I'm going to
I
edit
could
that so
find.
there's
I don't know
less
about the rest of you.
gappage.
I had a blast. I know what you're talking about.
I
Oh,
was
man.
just confused.
Well, yeah. I mean, you ended up with... I don't even know what. I don't even know what happened to the dog. I mean, what happened to the dog? Did we even find out?
She
It was full
carrying
of
it with her.
It was full of Skittles, last I heard. Which is a great
The
name for a
dog.
dog.
Yeah.
We lamented passing the dog. It was tasty.
Oh man. Okay, so yeah. That's I mean I just that's that was our first attempt at this. So we'll practice more on that. We'll practice more. I mean, especially I think Jazz really was our weakest link.
Uh-huh.
Chad was hitting it out of the ballpark.
No, she did. I'm
I was
teasing.
weak.
I only tease her because she's actually done this on stage before. But so all right, okay. Well, that was not entirely horrible. I do know that the garbling thing, God, it's aggravating the hell out of me.
It's Discord, man.
Yeah. I was starting to wonder if it's because, they have multiple servers, because we don't seem to have this problem on the other voice chat servers we're on. Have you noticed that?
I did
Yeah.
notice that.
It only seems to be on this one. I'm wondering if the one that our show is placed on for some reason is on one of their funky servers or something, because we really don't have this.
Well, maybe we can do a petition and ask them.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to.
Maybe they can give us an idea of how to change our settings to help.
Yeah, I don't know. So, yeah, I apologize for the garbleness, and, we'll work out the kinks. It was our first go-around. It was live, which is part of the fun of the show. Oh, you know what? Just make sure he sounds all right. But, which I did forget to mention, rpmradio.com/Discord. You can join us and talk to us throughout the week, on and off, just as Big Hoss has done.
He's good.
He's
I can
Hoss.
hear him.
All right.
I can hear
And
him.
you can also call in the show by going to our caller waiting room, just as Hoss has done, who is not... hold on. There we go. There we are. Not really a new listener as he's going through the catalog, but he is a first-time caller. How's it going, Hoss?
Oh, it's going pretty good. How y'all doing?
Doing pretty
Doing
good.
well, sir.
You're not driving and talking right now, are you? I know that's not a real good thing for truckers. That's dangerous.
No, I'm shut down in Caldwell, Idaho tonight, so I shut down early just to be able to watch the podcast on Twitch tonight.
Oh,
cool.
well, that's very cool. I
Nice.
appreciate you.
What a
Appreciate you
pro.
doing that. So what have you
I
got,
hope the roads
Hoss?
aren't bad. I'm just gonna say that. I hope the roads are not bad for you.
Yeah, up in Idaho. Land of the potatoes, eh?
Hopefully, you're having a safe trip.
Yeah, they got potatoes. Actually, I drove by the Ore-Ida plant in Ontario this afternoon. So
Good to know it's not just us. He also sounds garbage.
Yeah, we're all
Go
garbage.
us.
That's all right. It's Discord's fault. So what can we do for you, Hoss? What you calling for?
all right, so going through the catalog, every time you guys bring up WoW, it's always talking about the Rape Tavern in Golden.
No, I don't know what you're talking
True
about.
story, though.
I remember it differently.
The big thing that bothers me is that everybody, when they talk about WoW roleplay, they always talk about
Mm-hmm.
the Alliance side. And it's Elwyn Forest, it's the Goldshire Inn, and all this others. Nobody ever tries the Horde side. And if you come over to the Horde side, I guarantee you'll find better RP at the Wyvern's Tail in Orgrimmar, Silver Moon City at the Bazaar or the Wayfarer's Rest Tavern. Also, server selection matters too. If you go Alliance, Moonguard is where the Rape Tavern is. If you go to Wormrest Accord on Horde side, they've got the larger Horde population. You know, you roll a Troll, an Orc, a Blood Elf, Pandarans. You can choose either faction.
Right.
What you're saying is the Alliance are a bunch of pervs.
Yeah, it's the pretty races that are the pervs, man. It's the pretty races that are the pervs.
It's I knew it.
It's always the pretty
It's
ones.
always the goddamn furries.
I'll tell you what.
It doesn't surprise me at all.
I'm glad to hear this, though.
Yeah,
because
well, and that's-
everything I've heard about WoW. It's kind of got a bad rep. I know we have Ericus, who's a regular listener. He plays in RPs in WoW, and he's found a niche. But it's good to know there's other people out there.
Yeah,
that have
well, and I mean, how
found
many
solid role play?
How many servers are there still? Even roleplay servers. You guys, the game has how many? It's more than one. You got several, don't you?
Yeah, well, here's the thing: is the role place Blizzard has done this crazy thing where they change every server from PvP and PvE servers, and then they had RP and then RP PvP. Everything now is just normal server. It's all PvE, and then you have to opt in with War Mode. So they lost a lot of subs because of that. So then they shrank them down. And instead of deleting servers and transferring people to different servers or giving them the option, they do what's called cross realm, mergers. So
they merge
merge
server mergers. Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got a couple of one RP server is merged with two others. They've got like Lightning Hoof and Venture Co. and Twisting Nether, a couple of the other ones. I can't remember all the ones that are all merged together. But then you have but the main ones is Moonguard for Alliance, and then you have Wormrest Accord for Horde. And we actually just had our 10-year anniversary in Wormrest Accord. So we had both factions show up, and we took a big picture and
Oh, that's cool.
and whatnot. But the RP scene is still good as long as you can steer away from the Alliance ERP scene.
Right, which is, I mean, it's the whole news. I mean, the reason, we don't have a lot of experience here on the show. None of us really. I mean, I've tried to get into WoW. It has everything in a MMO I should like. I just don't. For some reason, I know it's a solid game and I know it's a good game. I could just never get into it. I think at the time it came out was the same year as EverQuest 2, and I was always already into EverQuest. So it already had that uphill battle because I love Norath, and it's a lot of the same mechanics.
Your love, right? I mean, you're always going to...
Right.
That's the stick by which you measure everything else by.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know WoW was a lot of people's first MMO. I mean, 10 million, 11 million players at one point, and now they're down to a paltry 5 or 7 million. I mean, it's basically a failing game.
They stopped releasing their sub numbers.
Yeah.
Shortly after Miss, I think it was in Warlords of Draenor, they stopped posting their subscription numbers.
Yeah.
And it's by all guesses, looking at what the active users and this and that, a lot of the big YouTubers are guessing probably right around 3 to 5 million now.
See, that's what I've heard too. Yeah, around the 5 million mark, give or take. Which which still makes it bigger than it makes it bigger than ESO. It makes it bigger than Final Fantasy 14. Almost every American, it's still bigger than any American or Western. I know some of the Chinese ones that we've never heard of. They have multiple millions as well, but I mean they've got like 1 point something billion people in their country, so they can do that.
Well, a lot of them are getting sanctioned by China. Like WoW got sanctioned by China recently.
Right? Yeah, they're not allowed in certain things like that. The whole cross country and the internet stuff and that Europe has done lately, and it does make it difficult, but it's still clearly by every measuring stick, it's a very successful game. But it is good to hear that the if it bleeds it leads aspect of the role play and role. I mean, it doesn't make sense that with 3 to 5 million people that there wouldn't still be a strong RP community. It's just that the ERP community is so laughably sticky that of course it gets all the headlines. I mean, it kind of it just by sheer numbers it would have to. It would outshine everything else.
It's sad.
It is sad, but it is good to hear from somebody that actually plays it and role plays it. So what's the role play like there? Is it the typical long drawn out stories? Does it vary? I'm sure from guild to guild, that kind of thing.
The role play in WoW is pretty much my guilds that I've been involved with, we've done kind of side quest type stories. We've done things where you can go back to the old content and use those areas. Mm-hmm. There's a few places that Blizzard has done a couple of nice things in the main world where there's areas that are what's called phased. So you go in there and it looked a certain way until you complete a certain number of quests.
Right, yeah.
It changes. So when you go into Hand in Eastern Plagueland, there's a bunch of Scarlet Crusaders. You go in there, clear them out, and it becomes new people. And a lot of you
hold on, Discord. Hold on. Hold it together, Discord. Hold it together. All right, try saying something now. Yeah, you're all right. See if you can. Nope. No. Still being. Doggone it.
Now try, because it seemed like it cleared up for mine. Or did we lose him?
Might have. You there still, Haas?
Discord's been to suck tonight, man.
Yeah. Well, I think
Discord's been
he's
sucking
also
lately.
using Wi-Fi, if I remember right from what he was saying earlier. So that might be part of it as well. You got your connection there, Haas? Anyone? Bueller?
No.
Bueller?
Nope.
No. I think
we're it's toasted. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Give him.
Thanks, Discord.
But no, it actually is. It is good to hear. I'll drag him back down here. See if that clears it up. And unmute. There we go. Is that better, Haas?
Right. Can you hear me now?
There you go.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, much better.
Well, it's hearable. I wouldn't say it's better, but that's not on your or our end. That's Discord. So no, it's actually good to hear that there is solid roleplay outside of the Goldshire Derp Fest that is all you ever hear about, and people splooging on one another and sexually harassing people and all the bullshit that often goes along with that. But one thing I'm curious about too, and you can answer this for me, because of the way World of Warcraft does their storytelling, it advances with like the recent expansion with the Alliance Wars and stuff like that. Does that play into your guys' role play, or do you just largely ignore that aspect of it, the world building stuff?
Oh, no. It plays in big time. Like right now, Blizzard has actually created some wonderful roleplay inadvertently. They didn't I don't think they actually planned on it being this way, but what they did was Sylvanas, who is the leader of the Horde, she's the war chief of the Horde right now.
Mm-hmm.
She did a bunch of bad stuff, and then another Horde leader, the leader of the Orcs, didn't like what she was doing. So they've kind of created a little bit of split. So now you've got this dynamic just in the Horde alone between the members of the Horde and these two leaders.
Yeah.
So
that's
we've had protesters in the main city, protesting against Sylvanas and her tyrannical rule, and there are guilds that are
Hashtag Sylvanas did nothing wrong.
Hashtag not my war chief.
Not my war chief.
Oh, dang.
That's good. Well, no, that's cool. I'd love to actually have you back and talk more. I've wanted to do it for some time and have people from each game and talk about the community and the ins and outs of how it works and various stories. I tried to do it with the Star Trek group, but once I reached out to them again, I never heard back from one of the 4 people that I was initially in contact with. So I think some people they get a little shy, and tonight is probably a night not to go into too depth of a conversation, since we can only hear every other word of it. It seems like everybody now. It's only gotten worse as the show's gone on. But I do appreciate you calling in, Haas. It's good to have you with us, and
it's very nice to hear.
It's safe out there, bro.
It's very cool that you're listening through all the stuff, and hopefully we're keeping you at least a little entertained and not falling asleep at the wheel.
Yeah, I love listening to you guys while I drive. It's great. And then, like I said the other night, I'm downloading ESO. I've kind of let my subscription go on wild for a bit, give it a break. I got burned out.
Yeah, it happens.
Hopefully, I'll be able to join some folks up in Tamriel and
Excellent.
have a good time there.
Well, we could point you. I could point you at a guild I know. The guild leader's a little. She's a little sensitive.
She's cranky.
She can.
Whatever.
She takes everything out of character and out of context. But I mean, she's a woman. I mean, can you really expect anything less? They're so moody and just.
Jazz, how have you stayed friends with them so long?
I wonder on occasion.
Because women crave a bad boy, and baby, I'm bad.
Oh Lord!
Looking.
Some of those crickets.
All right.
Seriously.
Well, I look forward to actually talking to you again, Haas. I'll have to reach out to you and see if there's a time where we can maybe get together and have a longer conversation on that and World of Warcraft in general and the roleplay there. But do appreciate you calling in.
I know you said you were going to message me, but I figured tonight sounded like it was a
Yeah,
little bit
you're-
of a slower night.
Yeah,
Thought
you're
I'd just kinda-
anyone's welcome to call in at any time. So I'm glad you remembered how to do it because the idiot that hosts the show completely forgot to mention at the start. Straffe.
I mean, yeah, I'll own it.
All right. Well, appreciate you calling, Haas. Thanks for listening, and you have a good one. Drive safely out there,
Yes, be safe.
or else.
Always.
Have a good night. Oh, I moved Jazz.
Props to
And
Haas,
now
what
I
a
moved.
boss.
I moved me. Now I'm moving Jazz. I'm just moving everything. I
Yeah,
don't know
you're
what the
moving all
fuck
of
is
it.
All
going
of
on.
that.
I thought it got
Well, I went
voted.
to grab his
We're
name, but he
moving
left of
on
his
up
own volition. So then it grabbed
to
yours,
the
and it was
top.
just
Oh, okay.
a clusterfuck from there. So we're gonna end this show just like we started it, with me babbling incoherently and using the word "fuck" over and over and over again, which I've done through the entire show, which means it's over.
It's over!
The end. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Anybody got any final things to say? All right, good. I didn't want to hear about it anyway. So, appreciate everybody calling. Remember, rpmradio.com/Discord if you want to join our Discord server and call in during the shows live at 7 Central Time on most Saturdays. Usually it's the last one of the month that we're not going to be doing anymore. And feel free to comment if you got any ideas for a show or a topic you want to hear on. If you're from one of the games outside of ESO that we don't play, World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy 14, Guild Wars, whatever MMO you're playing and role-playing in, if you want to call in and have a conversation about what the role-play is like there or your guild, let us know. We'll take the call. We'll put the show aside and just do it again another time to have that conversation. We'd always rather talk with other role players and have you guys on than listen to these three idiots babble on while I coherently hold the entire thing together.
I resemble that statement. I mean, resent that statement.
So, and with the Fallout 76 live-action roleplay that we're going to try, as you can tell with our improv skill, it will be probably horrible. But when we're playing Fallout, it actually turns out a lot better than we're trying to do improv. It tends to work better when we got a visual reference to go off of. So that will be far better.
We tend to feed off each other like the debates.
Yes, it does. So join us there. I don't know what day this week we'll do it. I'll try to announce it as soon as we lock one down. And hopefully now that everyone's familiar with it, we will get that done. So with that, I do want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank my crew, Jazz, Sib, Straffe. Say a prayer for Rahanar and Yunfei. They've got a bit of a medical thing going on. That's why they actually couldn't be here. That and the halfling kidnappings. So keep them in your thoughts. Keep them in your prayers. Say, I don't know, say something nice about them if you can stomach it. But hopefully they'll be back next week. And with that, tune in next time when we'll go over halflings and why they just suck at improv and we're probably part halfling. You heard the show. So next time on RPM Radio, play on and keep the role play going. Good night, everybody. Music, as always, is provided by Husky by the Geek. Visit him at youtube.com/Husky by the Geek to hear all his great video game rock covers and original music.